Hello there, guys. Just Goron here, and welcome to the second episode of building Beekse Bergen. And today we're trying something new, as I said in the last episode. From now on, I'll be trying some time-lapse stuff. Now, I actually did manage to fix the freezes, so now whenever my computer stutters, the recording doesn't freeze anymore, but instead it just records the frame rate. And because I've managed to fix it, I have kind of been able to pinpoint the issue of the freezing to my CPU, which I might try to fix it. I'll talk to the guy who built my PC soon and figure it out, but that's not really important right now, because we are looking at some Planet Zoo stuff. So, at the end of the last episode, we saw a little time-lapse of me working on this gorilla habitat and kind of finalizing that, and that is where we are continuing off in this episode as well. So something I did, because I saw some protesters protesting the animals, and I was like, well, but I have welfare turned on, so why are they so upset? I guess it's just a thing with the protesters, like even if you have the welfare up using the cheats, they will still protest low welfare animals. And that's when I decided to just turn the welfare back on, and I thought, hey, let's just try to get some decent welfare while still maintaining the look of the actual habitat. So that's what we're doing. It's just a bit of an extra challenge. Just don't let it, not only let it look like how it is, but also make the animals a bit happy with everything, which so far is so good. They're actually relatively happy, even though the foliage and stuff is all off. The terrain is a bit off because there has to be way more soil, but I didn't want to, because that's not what it looks like. So yeah, there's some compromises, but of course the look is the most important, and if there's some protesters here and there occasionally, I don't care. But yeah, so I started putting the roof on, started working on the Primate house itself, where the people can come inside to check on the monkeys, and pretty soon you'll see, first we kind of make this area look like it's supposed to. There's a bunch of detail, but I soon realized that the building is actually a bit too small. There has to be way more, well, less space for the visitors and much more space for the animals. So we're gonna expand in a bit the building itself by a whole 4-meter grid piece, and the visitor area is gonna be shrunk down by 2 meters, and it all ends up working pretty well. Now you can see me put down some of the corrugated roof pieces. That was what I was planning to use for the roof, but we actually went with just regular arch shapes, which ended up looking pretty good. Now here you can see me measuring using the grid and looking at the map that I have, and kind of determining, yeah, it has to be one longer. So time to just do everything, but it does make the roof a bit easier. But yeah, goodbye bridge. 10,000 for the 10,000th time moving the bridge, and now getting the thing in. Oh, all the animals are escaping. We're getting fines for escaped animals, whatever. We're playing sandbox mode, and here I am trying to get the door in, but it's struggling a lot. Now later I found out the reason for that was because it was like the tiniest, like maybe 10 centimeters of a hole underneath the ground there, and that's what was preventing it. Maybe you'll see it. Yeah, there it is. For a split second you saw me go underground and remove that little speck of a hole that was screwing with the paths. But I decided to put the doors in the back, because in the actual exhibits, habitats, whatever, in the inside shelter, you can see a door in the back, and I thought, oh, that is actually a really good place for the keepers to come through. And now I'm trying to get the roof right. Now at the moment I actually have, you can see those pillars sticking out, that's where there's like a little roof bit, but I didn't look at, I have like one good piece of reference that I wasn't looking at for the duration of this. And I was just looking at the Google Maps and I thought it was like a little tower sticking out, but it is actually a very interestingly shaped roof piece. You'll see it when it's finished. But it was actually very difficult to make, and you'll also get to see that once we get to it. But here I actually start on the tower bit. So I'm putting down these pieces, and this is where I kind of realize, yeah, that's the size of it. So we put the pillars right and put everything in place. But now I think pretty soon after this I will look at the reference properly. And oh no, first we're moving in. Are we? No? Oh yeah, right. So now I found the good picture and realize there is no little tower. It's actually a completely different shape. And the front bit that's made out of wood is a bit lower down than the roof of the monkey place. And this is where we start on the complex roof shape. And it's... you're not gonna get happy. Like, it's a mess of a roof. And here's where I'm currently standing with it. I'm kind of at a point where I'm happy with it because it looks fine. But if you get up close, you realize how messy it is. And the thing is, there's two primate houses, both featuring the same types of monkeys, but I guess it's just so they can separate them if they don't get along or something. So what I'm gonna do is, when we get to the next primate house, I'll try to do a better job at this, because like for now it's fine, right? You can see it's pretty neat and straight, but this is where it gets messy and it doesn't line up. And here I'm looking at the reference and I realize, oh, it's like that. But I put it back so I can just finish the center bit. And this is where it's just mess. It's just art piece after art piece, trying to get it into that point shape that it should be, but it's just it's messy. It's messy. That's just what it is. So when we get to the second primate house, I'll try again at this. And if I manage to do better, then we might copy that one over to this one. If I can't get it right, then we'll just copy this one over to there. And here I just give up and I put in a little round piece instead of a point. Which, I mean, it looks fine from a distance, that's the thing. I mean, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit more, but yeah. So, time for the actual roof. Just more art pieces. I thought, well, since we got this thing out of art pieces, might as well do the rest. So we removed the corrugated plastic. But you'll see I actually get a pretty interesting roof down. It's a bit of a custom roof, but not an extreme one like some YouTubers do. I personally watch Koali Zoo with some really great YouTubers there, and Silverette does some amazing custom roofs, but my god, do I feel like they destroy your computer if they do it. So I just got some big sheets of art piece, and now you see what we do with those. We got some Asian, like timber, I think it's, no, it's not timber, it's just Asian painted wood or something. I'm not sure, it's the Finn one at least. If you search Finn, no wait, you don't, that's a different one. But it's in the Asia pack. It's the woods, it's the smaller of the bunch. And you get this really nice, yeah, it's kind of similar to the corrugated plastic really, but it's much larger, which is actually more accurate to the reference material I had. So that's what we put in as the roof. And as you can see, I did this at the lion exhibit as well, which I'm not sure I showed properly. But I've got a glass roof with some material laid over it, and that creates then you can have roofs in the windows like this, which is very nice. I really like the way that it looks, and you continue to have hard shelter, which is also important. Now this is where I'm exchanging the wood, because I made everything out of wood as kind of like the frame. And now it's time to put the proper material in. Now this front bit is actually made out of wood, so that's what I'm putting in here now. And I think it is now time for me to be like, right, this should be 2 meters wide. So time to, you can see it freeze every time I select the grid. Time to actually make it 2 meters wide. So this is actually about to become one of the best pathing jobs I think I've done. So I'm getting these back walls in, and I want to show the pathing. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so we line up the pathing like that, put in the little round thing of the what isn't a tower but what I thought was a tower, and now we just extend the path, and this is all like one path piece. If you remove just one thing, it just removes the entire floor, but it fills up the entire space, which is really cool. And I managed to get the glass up and close, get these things in. Yeah, oh yeah, everybody fled out of the park because I hit play and the water was not even in the moat. But yeah, these are the doors that I mentioned, and we're putting the keeper doors lined up with those, so it actually is the entrance of the habitat, which is really great. So you'll see later on if a keeper enters or exits the habitat, they'll come in through that door. Now I'm also hiding a little keeper hut in the wall here, just so it's nice and close, and there's probably something like that there in real life, but I gotta think about not just making the park look like the actual park, but also having it work as a Planet Zoo park, of course. So we gotta hide keeper huts and staff rooms and stuff like that. Even though in Sandbox, of course, they never become tired and stuff enabled, but I still want the game to function, kind of. Like preferably if we're all done, I want to see how well the zoo works if I just turn off all the cheats and see if all the animals die or not. Now what I'm doing over here is actually really cool. I got this vending machine of the workshop, but in many zoos actually, it's not just the Beekse Bergen. I think there's other zoos that have the same vending machines as well. But there's always this vending machines with like a wooden pattern on it, kind of theming to the zoo, of course. But there's this one that I just love, and it has a hippo, like just a picture of a hippo with its mouth open, and then a poorly shaped like Pepsi bottle just photoshopped into its mouth, and it looks so ridiculous, and I love it. So when I saw in the reference material that there was a vending machine inside of this building, I just had to make my beautiful hippo vending machine. You could also see I laid a painted brick floor, similar to what the game is. Now, I wish I could put that painted brick just all over the park where they use this sort of floor pattern, but that would be an insane amount of work. Now, I just wish there was a pathing that looked like it, but whatever. Now, there's some hatches, I guess you could call those. Not really. They're like tiny doors for the gorillas to come through. So I just sank a door down into the floor. This is all just decoration. And the entire floor of this area is covered in bedding, just like it is in real life. And now we get to the climbing structures on the inside. So there's not really many climbing structures for the gorillas outside, other than those trees, but they can't really use them in game. Now I didn't mention it earlier, but I hid some thin climbing logs into those trees, so they are technically climbable, but since they don't lead anywhere, I feel like the gorillas don't use them. At least I think that's what the reason is. Now I'm putting some glass panels in the ceiling here. It is to mimic kind of a great ceiling that there is in real life. And what's really cool, oh, my computer just locked itself. I hope that doesn't screw up the voice recording. what's really great about the crates is that they hang climbing structures and stuff from the ceiling by just using rope and tying them to the ceiling. So you'll see me put down some rope like that. So there, you just got things hanging from the ceiling, and that's how they're suspended, which is really cool. And I've also got the rolling feeder there. Oh yeah, the pillars sadly cannot be up to the ceiling like they are in real life, because the animals will kind of glitch through the ceiling and get on top and then escape into the chimp habitat, and we don't want that. But yeah, I put a rolling feeder in there. In real life, it's actually suspended from a rope. Oh yeah, you saw the game just crashed there while I was placing the side, so I have to redo a bit of this, but whatever. In real life, the rolling feeder is kind of suspended from a rope from the ceiling, but you can't really do that. So I just put in a rolling feeder, but they do use it, and they can reach it, and it's all great. So yeah, redo some of those ropes, save just to be safe, and redo this part. So we put in, using the plaster pieces, I put in this kind of, yeah, how do you call this, like camouflage pattern that is all over this building in real life as well. It's a bit thick and it's hard to make out of these plaster pieces, but I don't really think that there's another piece that would do it. This one's got the right texture, so that's kind of why I want to use this instead of like the art pieces, even though they would be better. But the thing with the art pieces is they're shiny-ish, because their material is plastic, so it wouldn't look right on the side of a plaster wall like this. So that's why we're doing it this way, but it looks fine. It gets the point across, I think, of what I'm trying to go for, and what is also, especially if you compare it to the real building, it looks pretty good. So last but not least is this little piece, and kind of doing a little bit of detailing now. I tried putting some coarse sand over the path, which is a real improvement, and makes it look more like the actual path. So in the end, we're gonna have to go past all the paths and put down coarse sand. And over here you can add me a little bit of windows and stuff like that, just similar to the real habitat, because those ropes are not really for the gorillas, and you saw them go into like a little window now, because in real life the gorillas actually share their habitat with like a very tiny little monkey, and the ropes are for them. But that's it. That was this episode. Here are some screenshots. I'll leave you with those, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I think I'm gonna stick to this time-lapsey stuff. I really like it, and I feel like it really improves the video. This was about, I think it was 4.5 hours of footage sped up 16 times, and that makes a pretty good video. So I think I'm gonna stick to that format. Just record for like 4 to 6 hours, speed it up 16 times, and I'll do a voiceover for that. And then maybe every like 5 episodes we can do a bit of a tour video in which we do go through the entire park and like look at the stuff we built in time lapses, so you can have a bit of a better look at it. What I'm also thinking is doing some tips and tricks videos, because I do have a bunch of tricks that I picked up both from other YouTubers but also just playing on my own. Like the pathing in the gorilla house was actually quite interesting, but you couldn't really see it in the time lapse. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, do leave a comment, and if you have any questions as well, leave a comment for that, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.